Mr. Feith, welcome to our studio and thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you.
It has been almost a year since the declaration of independence. How is Kosovo progressing so far?
We have seen good progress in consolidating Kosovo's statehood through the implementation of the comprehensive settlement plan. As an international civilian representative, I'm pleased with the legislative work, the drawing up of the Constitution, the passing of the necessary laws. And in that context, what I should say is that we now have to look at implementation, at integrating the communities, at further reconciliation, so that Kosovo can become a truly multi-ethnic state. On the economy, more work is needed, clearly. The agenda is quite challenging, privatization, further appointments, and all of this against the background of a financial crisis that will also affect Kosovo. Perhaps not as much as many other economies, but it will also have its impact here. Hopefully we will see Kosovo soon join the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, which will give further support. But I think we are doing quite well there. On recognitions, we have seen additional recognitions, including from the neighboring states, and we're looking forward to further steps.
You said in the beginning that we have done good in the legislation. It seems that we are good in approving laws and adopting them and endorsing them, but quite poorly implementing them. I mean, we have international bodies such as European Commission Progress Report that says there is too little rule of law in Kosovo, or other international bodies such as Freedom House that rate Kosovo as a not-free country.
Yeah, I wouldn't comment on the last assessment, but let me say that the government is now embarking vigorously on a number of priority issues like decentralization, education reform, protection of religious and cultural heritage, security sector reform, standing up the Kosovo security force. So, no, I would say that also in implementation I'm confident that we can make further progress in this coming year.
Good. 2 weeks ago you made a decision which is being commented as your first major decision as international representative in Kosovo. You supported the decision of President Fatmir Sejdiu to postpone national elections. May I ask you why?
First of all, my first major decision as an international civilian representative was to agree the Constitution last year. I think that was significant.
Okay.
On elections, I think you should separate my responsibilities from those of the President. My responsibility was to take a view on certain provisions in the comprehensive settlement plan. And I did so on the basis of advice I got and having consulted my stakeholders, including negotiators.
Advices from whom?
Well, I have my lawyers, I have the most expert office you can imagine. And I have consulted with those countries who are directly supporting me.
And you stated that this decision does not breach the Ahtisaari plan.
That's right.
Okay, and Article 11 of this plan says, and I cite, no later than 9 months from the entry into force of this settlement, Kosovo shall organize general and municipal elections in accordance with the terms of this settlement.
Right. Well, that requirement was fulfilled in November 2007, and you will also want to have a look at Article 161 of the Constitution, which talks about continuity.
Good, but I would rather talk about another article of the Ahtisaari plan, which says, and I cite, in the event of a conflict between the provisions of the Constitution and the provisions of this settlement, the latter shall prevail. So it's not really the case that this is based on the Constitution, whereas it breaches the Ahtisaari plan.
Well, then let's take another provision of the Comprehensive Settlement Plan, and it is that I, as the international civil representative, am the final authority to interpret the document. So
and you have done so?
I have done so.
Good. Have you consulted the opposition prior to do this decision?
Should I?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you should. having in mind that this is the very basic principle of democracy we're talking about, elections?
Well, 2 points here. First of all, do I need to consult the opposition when interpreting the comprehensive settlement plan? I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Should the president consult the opposition? That's another matter.
Well, should you intervene if the president decides to make such decision without even debating it in our parliament?
Look, again, you should separate my responsibilities from those of the president. And the president has acted on the basis of his authority under the Constitution. And any questions you may have, you have to ask him.
Of course, but you're here to supervise our independence, aren't you?
Well, I'm here to advise. I'm not here like the SRSG under the UNMIC period. I'm not administering the country. And on your second point, elections and democracy. Yes, elections are important, but it's not the only thing in democracy. It is important to establish the rule of law. Mm-hmm. That is important. And then if you have the rule of law, then it's also important to have the elections. In any event, according to the law, the government has a 4-year mandate, which it has received after the elections in November.
Yes, but at that time Kosovo was still being administered by the UN, so we weren't here. It was an SRSG who was above everyone, who was above the law, above and we have not voted for government of the Republic of Kosovo, but rather for the government of provisional institutions.
Article 161 once again speaks about continuity and that the mandate should continue.
Okay.
And,
so
therefore the question that needs to be asked is not why shouldn't we have elections, but the question is there compelling reasons to have elections? And to my mind there is none.
Well, the opposition is angry, people seem to be irritating. Well, okay. So based on this we can have the advisory package interpreted by you. Basically it will serve like a someone wrote like it will serve like a restaurant menu. So basically we choose what we want to interpret, we choose what we want to eat, and we choose what to ignore. Can you ignore other important processes, such as decentralization, for example?
No, you can't. And I will see to it that that will not happen. And the government is fully in agreement that when I interpret one particular provision, that doesn't mean that all the rest falls by the wayside. I mean, that is not how it goes. So the government remains committed to all the other priorities. My supporters, the countries who are in the international steering group who have recognized Kosovo will support me. And we see no reason to prolong this debate.
Okay. Let's stick with the elections, but with the local ones. Are the local elections going to be organized based on the new municipal boundaries as foreseen in the settlement?
As the settlement says, it would be desirable that there will be new municipal boundaries and that there will be sufficient participation of all communities.
Does it say desirable or it actually settles? Like this is, I mean, I'll cite once again, in accordance with the terms of the settlement and the new municipal boundaries. So what will be the case? I mean, we don't know yet.
We are consulting with various sides on this, and you will hear more about it.
So there is no decision yet?
No.
We don't know anything about it? How do you plan to convince Kosovo Serbs to vote in these elections?
We are actively engaged in our consultations with the Kosovo Serb community as well as the government. The government is actively engaged in this as well. I've mentioned the key priorities of the government, reaching out to the communities, to the Serb community.
What if they don't vote like they did so far?
And we are confident that as we come closer to the date of municipal elections, that there will be sufficient incentive, sufficient confidence, sufficient interest to participate.
So what if they don't vote still? I mean, what if they ignore? What if they...
Let's not speculate.
Okay. How you will deal with parallel structures that actually are operating now in Serb municipalities around Kosovo?
Well, clearly, if these municipal elections can be held with full Serb community participation, that would supersede the parallel institutions. We're also working as a European Union with Belgrade to convince Belgrade not to pursue the program for parallel structures.
Well, if Serbs don't vote, and you still implement that historic plan, meaning new municipalities and the decentralization, does this mean that the new municipal bodies of these new municipalities will be consisted of the parallel structures? Are you going to legalize them?
Again, you are speculating a bit. Let's see how...
I'm asking.
Yes, no, I can imagine your interest, but let's take it one at a time. It's not for tomorrow. We have to look at various aspects. Who will be the candidates? That's your interest. Mm-hmm. Who will be on the voters list and everything. So, I mean, we are not there yet.
But you don't exclude the possibility that you will deal with these people who are now running parallel structures?
I'm not in a position to give you a straight answer on that. Let's see how things develop. There's a lot ongoing. We need to integrate the Kosovo Serb community. And I'm consulting with various sides, and we'll see.
Good that you mentioned integration, because whenever we think that everything in Kosovo is fine, there's something going wrong in Mitrovica and in the north in general. You, the ICO, have an office in Mitrovica. What are they doing? We don't get to hear much of them.
Well, that may be the case, but that doesn't mean that they are idling away. They are active in their context with the North. Mm-hmm. I've mentioned already to you that we have an active dialogue with the Kosovo Serb community.
Is this working?
And with the government, and the results will show.
Well, I mean, the results are that every time we settle, there is a bomb, there is inter-ethnic violence, there's something going wrong in Mitrovica.
Well, I think there are two sides to it. One is that we have to enhance the security in Mitrovica and in the north on the ground, not bottom up.
How?
We have the EU-Lex mission, we have KFOR, we have the Kosovo Police Service.
And we have bombs every day.
When we have the Kosovo Police Service. And the second part is, if you allow me just to finish this, top down, that is that as a European Union we are also in constant dialogue with Belgrade. And we are reminding Belgrade and the Serb government to honor its commitments, to facilitate the deployment and the operation of EU-Lex, and to help actively to create the conditions for EU-Lex mission success.
But everyone in Kosovo, Mr. Feith, thinks that Belgrade wants to destabilize Kosovo, not to stabilize it. Mm-hmm. So why would you consult Belgrade to stabilize Mitrovica?
Well, the realities on the ground are that Belgrade has influence on the community, on the Serb community north of the Ibar. That's a reality. Unfortunately, it's like this, but this is how it is. And we have a good dialogue with Belgrade. This is part of our broader dialogue to allow Serbia, like Kosovo, to benefit of its European perspective. But we have to remind the Serb government to honor its commitments, and that is that the main criminal elements in the north need to be brought to justice or in any way
but these are the same people who consist the parallel structures.
Eliminated from any political activity in the north.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but these criminals that you're talking about, these people who basically control the north, if there's anyone who controls, these are people from parallel structures of Serbia.
Yeah, that needs to be abolished.
And you don't know yet what your strategy will be towards these institutions?
Well, I have outlined some of my approaches. I mean, we are talking, I don't need to repeat it, we are talking with Belgrade, we are working on the ground, so it goes top down and bottom up. And I think that's hopefully going to lead to results.
Well, we certainly hope, but so far we didn't see much progress in Mitrovica anyway. Last week you indirectly objected a decision of privatization agency to invest privatization money in Kosovo rather than abroad.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because this is a significant sum of money, resource that is to the benefit of the people of Kosovo, to the economy, and to further privatization. And there is a provision in the comprehensive settlement plan which says that these resources need to be invested in secure papers.
Why do you think Kosovo is not secure enough?
Well, there are no securities in Kosovo at this moment, and therefore the monies have to be placed abroad.
Can we create these security elements with this money, let's say?
I would prefer that we stick to what the government has committed itself to in the comprehensive settlement plan, and therefore, for the time being, I think it's more prudent to keep the monies where they are.
Mm-hmm. In one of your previous remarks, you insisted that non-political people should be appointed in board of directors of the public institutions. But it seems that you have lost this battle with the government, haven't you?
Have I?
Well, I mean, an investigation that we conducted shows that main public institutions still are chaired by people who are appointed, basically political people of the parties that consist the government.
Yeah. Well, we are investigating and assessing the process of appointing people into the boards of the public-owned enterprises. Our assessment gives us some reason for concern, I must tell you, and we are going to discuss this with the government. The reason being that we need to abide by the rule that is enshrined in the law on public-owned enterprises. That is that only people who have the necessary qualifications and who have passed who have been selected who have been selected in the best way can be appointed.
But at the time being, we have at least 3 key public enterprises that are chaired by people from PDK, let's say. That's the tax administration, the airport, and the CAC.
Yeah. Well, we are looking into this. We are not over. This is not a done deal yet.
So it's not a lost battle.
No.
There's a perception in Kosovo that whenever the U.S. embassy here wants to do something, wants to have something done, it's done. Whereas whenever you want to have something done, it's kind of being ignored by the government. Can you push the government to do something that the U.S. embassy doesn't necessarily want to?
Well, I think the best way to answer that one is that the U.S. Embassy and my office are consulting very frequently, and that we are aiming for the same objectives.
Well, not always, because whenever they wanted to have something done, it was done. Whereas, I mean, this decision of yours, for example, for political militants in board positions of public enterprises is being ignored. And, you know, these enterprises have been working with these boards for a while now.
I mean, did the U.S. Embassy prevent people who were not qualified from sitting on boards?
No, they just don't care about it. It's not on their interest, whereas it is your responsibility, I guess.
Well, that's taking a very selective view on what the embassy is doing here. But I think we should not pursue this discussion. I think the U.S. Embassy is representing the United States of America, which is one of the key members of the International Steering Group and one of my key supporters. And I think that I have a very close dialogue with them on what our priorities are. And frankly, your perception that the government is ignoring what I want them to do is not exactly how I see it.
Well, that's the impression. That's the general impression of the public.
Well, it is. We are not in UN times anymore. The government has to assume responsibility itself. My responsibility is to see to it that the government does not violate the comprehensive settlement plan.
What if, for example, they decide to ignore your recommendation to keep the money abroad?
If the government makes mistakes, then it has to assume full responsibility for that. But till so far, I must say that I have seen very good performance by the government. Mm-hmm. If it comes to the example that you mentioned, then we have a problem, because then there is a violation of the comprehensive settlement plan. So all in all, at this stage, and to my good fortune, there was no need to exercise any of my authority. But I think it's better that it.
Well, are you here to supervise the independence of Kosovo, mm-hmm. and to make sure that we have a running democracy, or
yes, sir,
or as it seems to turn it into a dictatorship, because the government is basically controlling every public enterprise now?
Well, that's a very political statement you're making there. I'm not here to exercise authority day in, day out. I'm here to see to it that matters progress in accordance with the Jeta plan. And if you can tell me where this has not been the case, then I would be interested to discuss it with you.
Well, I mean, you were the one who send a note to the government warning them about the political representatives being appointed in board of directors of public enterprises, and nothing has been done in that regard.
We are about to send a note. We haven't sent it yet.
Okay, good. Last but not least, a few months ago there was an explosion in your office. Have you repaired the office? How is it now?
Come and have a look. Eat a sandwich.
Good.
Be my guest.
I might.
But this is not the most important thing.
The building is still illegal, isn't it? Because last time when we checked in the municipality, they said it's not legalized. How do you feel working in an illegal building in Kosovo where wild constructions are a major portion of the organized crime?
Let's come back to your first question.
Okay.
The explosion. We haven't seen any suspects being detained on this, and I regret this. It would have been better if there would have been a suspect or more suspects having turned up. Now it's complete silence. I regret this. The person or the persons who did this are still around and may do it again.
Why is this happening? You're in charge, Mr. Feith.
I'm not in charge. The Minister of Justice is in charge, and the Minister of the Interior is in charge of the police.
So why is there's nothing happening regarding this investigation then?
I'm saying that I regret that it hasn't. We haven't seen any results of the investigation.
How about you answer my second question? How do you feel working in illegal building?
I cannot give you an answer to that. We have the documentation for the building, which is in good order.
But it doesn't have any license. We checked that with the municipality.
I will look into this, but so as far as I know, it is documented, and I'm not in an illegal building.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.